Chapter 31 begins with a domain expansion. We get some text boxes. Sukuna's curse technique possesses at least 2 types of slashing attacks. One can travel through the air, considered its primary style, dismantle, and another that adapts to cursed energy and the target's durability through direct contact, cleave. Malevolent Shrine, unlike most domain expansions, does not need to close its borders in order to deploy its innate domain. This is equivalent to painting in the air without the need for a canvas to exist. A divine masterpiece in every sense of the word. It is thanks to this, Sukuna creates a restriction, whereby granting an escape route, the maximum radius increases until it reaches nearly 200 meters. Currently, the radius deployed within a range is close to 150 meters. Beings with cursed energy will cut by cleave at the same time. Beings without cursed energy will be cut by dismantle. Both dismantle and cleave will attack without ceasing until the Malevolent Shrine ends. Then we get a large panel that reads out, New Shadow Style, Simple Domain. Sukuna monologues while chibi-fied versions of him and Gojo are seen on screen. That guy still retains the anti-domain technique, even so I must secure the distance. I can't risk falling into that again. If I had expanded my domain near him, or even if I were to get close to break his simple domain, it's possible that he could trap me in some way. For some time now, I haven't ruled out the possibility that he has found a simple method to make his barriers more resistant from the outside, especially because of the experience he gained during the last 2 Infinite Voids. That's why I decided to expand my domain far from him. This way I prevent him from getting close to me, but even if he manages to do so, he will take enough damage to prevent him from maintaining a proper fight, and he won't be able to bring down my domain in a direct confrontation. My conclusion is straightforward. I will maintain my hand seal while I prepare myself. It's only a little more than a minute. If this thing does nothing, it will lose to Satoru Gojo. Last panel on this page zooms in on Sukuna's eyes, looking all shocked. Text boxes appear again. When 2 techniques are executed simultaneously, in the process one of the 2 will have reduced power. At the same time, he bets everything. Immediately afterward, the simple domain of Satoru Gojo would begin to collapse. Among the possibilities, one option comes true, and just as he realizes it, the slashes of his domain would cease. Only 44 seconds have passed since the activation of the Malevolent Shrine. A small segment plays out of Gojo releasing Hollow Purple before we get this really sick looking page of the 2 fighters. We switch to Sukuna's perspective, where he unleashes an attack. The text boxes narrate again. The execution of Open ended with an explosion of the 150-meter radius on the surface. In this way, ending the existence of Satoru Gojo, or at least that should have happened. Because the technique was executed in an incomplete manner, its power can be considered insufficient. This happens due to the short time of that the technique had, but at the same time the explosion occurred, the following happened. Released during the domain clash against Yuta, Gojo made a self-imposed vow, pausing his evolution for an indefinite time until he decides the moment to release that limitation. Among the benefits, an accumulation of accelerated healing factor is granted in the following seconds, managing to withstand Sukuna's fire technique while also managing to reverse all post-damage after the second round against Sukuna. Regarding the process to trap Satoru Gojo's soul thanks to his paused evolution, he acquired greater effectiveness than expected. Currently, Satoru Gojo's brain can at least release 3 Infinite Voids in succession and reconstruct the affected area at least 2 more times. Ryomen Sukuna, after the fall of his domain, right now finds himself without curse technique. Could it be that Satoru Gojo? 32 is titled Empty Places. We have what seems to be a bit of a flashback, with a younger Geto and a younger Gojo. Geto asks how things went in Shibuya, to which Gojo asks if Geto is an illusion, though Gojo takes back the statement. Their dialogue continues, but honestly it was pretty tough. I barely managed to defeat Maharaga, but seeing the results, even if I hadn't done it, the virus would have eventually ended up doing it on its own. Well, it's quite a nuisance, don't you think? How disgusting. I never thought I'd end up like this. I think it's about time, Satoru. If I noticed it, it's because you did it first. You feel frustrated and tired, don't you? You feel that way because you weren't able to give more. You feel that your burden as the strongest has been reduced to nothing more than a simple weapon. But unlike before this time, it wasn't by choice, was it? I know what you did and I know you gave it your all, but even so, you're still unsatisfied. Gojo finally responds, "Since when did you become so talkative, Suguru? Just shut up and watch. The great Satoru Gojo will take care of the rest." Then we get some narration. Amid his condition as an infected, Gojo began a hallucination. His best friend Geto was conveying a message to him to give up and die. What was seen before was a conversation with himself to determine his final decision. As a clear sign, Satoru Gojo refuses to give up and chooses to keep fighting. "Wait, is that Nanami?" he says to himself. Then we go back to reality. Speech bubbles are seen saying Prison Realm, open. As you could expect, Zombie Gojo ended up getting sealed. It's said that seeing Geto could snap Gojo back into reality, but his body was still under control of the virus. Yuta jumps in and tries using cursed speech, but it just ended up damaging him even more. Gojo becomes fully sealed, and right when that happens, Geto describes how another issue comes up for him. When she arrived in Shibuya, I focused on following her steps as much as possible. I made things easier for them. I guess it was expected that she'd be here right now. Yuki pops up saying, "So are you finally going to tell me your type of woman, Geto?" A caption appears saying, "One last effort before a false peace. Two special grade sorcerers clash." And here is where the story ends.